All right, so happy National Rubber Stamp Day or whatever, if there's such a thing. I think I saw a posting on Facebook in regards to something like that. But if it is, then great. I've never heard of it before, but if that's so, that's pretty cool. All right, so we have one of the Deanna Tubb-Sedillo background papers, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Kind of a matte paper with this lightning bolt imagery stamped right over the, or created right over the top of it, printed right over the top of it, I should say. But it is a matte cardstock, so it should be able to take just about any inks. I'm going to be using my hybrid ink on that paper. That's become one of my favorite inks to use on the pre-printed papers like the suede paper or the wood grain paper or the Deanna Tubb-Sedillo background papers, designer background papers. All right, so I was thinking about this lightning bolt, and I was thinking about using it with a Frankenstein image. You know what I mean? It's just one of those iconic types of things, bringing them to life. And I thought, oh, okay, now I have the windmills now from the last set of stamp releases. So I thought I would do something together to, I don't know, whatever, harken back to that original, I think it was the original Frankenstein movie. We're working around this imagery right here, and we're going to have to alter it because this lightning is going to be going straight through my imagery. So I do have a couple purple, violet-y colored pencils. Then, of course, we have the white here, and we'll be working with some of the white pigment ink in here just to expand on the lighting and coloring ideas that were already established on this existing background. Hello, Glenda, Linda, and Lynn, and Joni. How are you? All right. So I had to look at I had to look and just make sure, because I haven't watched like you know that original Frankenstein movie. I don't know when I saw it. It's probably been 40 years since I watched it. Um, and I had to just make sure, not that I can't combine these anyway, but I'm thinking if I'm going to be referencing some sort of Frankenstein, I know it's Frankenstein's monster, but I'm just going to refer to the monster as Frankenstein. Uh, yeah, if I'm going to referring to it, I had to make sure that that was the case. So yeah, the villagers going up to the that windmill and then lighting it on fire with him in there. Um, so that is the case. Okay, so see that right here? So we have this lightning bolt going straight through here and then down here. I don't necessarily want that right there. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of alter this. We'll render some additional tones over that lightning in there. It actually doesn't look too bad in there, but I think giving it some little bit of extra tone. But I'll probably use some of that lighting down there for maybe some other imagery. But we'll see how it goes here. I haven't like completely thought this through. It was just like you know, I thought about it for like 10 seconds before trying it here. So that's what it is in theory. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit of a slope right here. Of course, it doesn't look like, the that scenery that's in the movie, but you know what I mean? If you have I think people will get it, if they, whatever, if they've seen the movie before. All right, so that is the sedge filler down below, like that. So that has already kind of gone in here and filled in some of those lightning forms in there in the background. And then we'll do some toning. So there's not very much that we'll have to do in order to kind of obscure those bolts in that area, okay? So you can do it with tone, you can do it with texture. It's preferable if you do it with both, because then you don't have to lean so heavily on one type of thing. I don't want to have to texturize this whole thing and just completely obscure it, because that would be probably a little bit too much texture in there. All right, now, so I have a little kind of issue here. I'm trying to think of, we want our figures to stand out. If I'm going to stamp that, that Frankenstein figure in here, I need to lighten up this background in here. Otherwise, I'm going to be stamping a dark figure on a dark background. I could put him down here too, but that's kind of an awkward location for it. I just have his like head coming in here. So ideally, I think what we want is we want that figure to be kind of right over here. Probably. Or like right in here. Okay, if I stamp him up here, we're saying that, this Frankenstein's like, I don't know, like a 20-foot tall one. So you have to have him a little bit farther down like this, okay? You don't have to go like way down, you know what I mean? I mean, we can't change the size of our imagery. So you take liberties with rubber stamping, and you don't kind of, be held to certain types of whatever ratio considerations, okay? So you could completely throw that out if you want to, but I do like to reference it a little bit. So just kind of stamping them a little bit, beyond the foot of this building, would probably be a good idea. So anyways, okay, so what you do is you just get your bearings here in terms of how high. Actually, it would be like this, kind of looking out that way. Not ideal for this composition. I'd rather have them kind of like that. You can use a mirror image stamp and stamp them on one of those mirror types of pieces of rubber, and then stamp that in there. It'll give you a mirrored image of it, but I'm not going to do that right here. So anyway, so see this right here? If we stamp it like right here, then like this area right in here would probably be a good idea to add a little bit of this, or expand on that white lighting right there. Hello, Bonnie and Jeannie. Good to see you. Happy National Rubber Stamping Day. Has anyone heard of that before? I think they said it was like, I don't know, like, did I read that right? It was like Rubber Stamp Madness, whatever, declared it or something like that. And why not? I think there was like a national scrapbooking day or something like that. There's probably national days for everything, National, I don't know, whatever, carrot juice day by the put out by the whatever, the National Carrots Growers Association. I only say that because we made some carrot juice yesterday. Okay, let's see here. So this is going to be a pretty quick scene here, so, but we will be employing, a little bit of technique in here, just to make this work. Yeah, because this lightning bolt, this background in here, it's pretty, I don't know what the word would be. It's pretty, it's semi-specific in terms of at least the way that I think about using it, because we want to have that lightning bolt in there. But if we're using it for scenic stamping purpose, we want some imagery in there too. So we do have to kind of work around it then, okay? Or we need to incorporate it in here. All right, so what I'm doing right here is there's this natural kind of horizon right here on the slope. So I'm going to mask that off like that. And that'll just kind of make for a good excuse for like an expansion on this cloud in the background, okay? So this is really kind of illuminating the sky in here, but what I'm going to essentially be doing here is I'm going to be saying, okay, well, there's like all this cloudy formation right in the background here by adding this in here like so. And that's just like right on the back of this slope right there, okay? And it's what it's really doing is it's kind of creating somewhat of a like a spotlit area for that figure to be stamped in front of it. That's a little bit of a different white, isn't it, though? That white right there looks like a warmer white. This one looks like a kind of a neutral one. So it stands out a little bit. So what we'll do is that looks a little bit isolated in terms of that color. So let's do this. So let's add it around into a couple other areas, okay? Like this. Deanna does these backgrounds with pastels, okay? So I'm not adding the same type of tone here with this ink, but we'll get it kind of integrated a little bit more than what it looks like right now. Let's do this right here. Here's the slope right here, and it goes right in the background like that. I do have this one windmill blade coming down right here, which is going to be hard to kind of work around, but I'm not going to bother masking it off. I'm just going to add some of this other tone or lighting back there as well, just so that, see, it's kind of carrying over right there. I mean, that's, you can barely see it right now. I'll add more. All right, so this is kind of coming over here. So it looks a little bit more, kind of related. Let's do this too. Let's kind of emphasize that carryover. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Let's do this. Let's bring that tone over here then too. Just some easy masking. On this matte paper, this ink really applies, and it really sticks on there and dries very quickly. So I want to be a little bit careful about the rate and amount of ink that I'm applying on there, because I don't think I can remove it quite as easily as like that, you know, really inked up semi-gloss paper that I was using yesterday. I posted that on Facebook, but if anyone I don't know, hasn't seen that, I just kind of mounted it on this board right here with that thin little border like that. But you can see that white in there is showing pretty good still. I just gave it a really quick spray sealant. So you can see those alcohol inks that I added in those trees, those had a really shiny, different looking texture to them, right? When I added them in there, but when you spray it over, like I was saying, it integrates all of those kind of whatever disparate textures, the shininess and the flat and really flat looking white in there. Actually, white's a little bit luminous because it's a brilliance ink, but you can see in here everything kind of integrates pretty well. And this is nice and flat too now after you use the spray adhesive on this, and I double mounted it with this little white. I always add this little white in here because I'm usually doing these little dots like that in here, these little eyes and highlights. So this little border around here kind of, it's the same width as a lot of my little tiny dots in there. So that kind of picks that up a little bit. But anyway. All right, so there is that. And let's see, let's get our bearings again. Let's see what this might kind of look like right here. I'm asking myself if I should add some of that down here as well. Maybe so, huh? Let's have some like some foggy mist down here as well, just so that figure stands out a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for checking out the lives, Bonnie. I got so crazy busy trying to get these new designs into production. And then I had a computer meltdown um, a couple months ago, and I was trying to get that thing all kind of back online. It was a really old computer that went down, and I had software that only, that doesn't run on anything kind of new. So it's like I really tried to repair that computer, and I don't know, it was a no go. I learned how to take computers apart though and build it back together, but that wasn't I don't know, the whole motherboard I found out that went out, and not just the drive. Uh, and then I got back to, then I don't know, I just eventually bought a used computer, an older one that can run. Specifically, it's Adobe Photoshop. Nowadays, you have to have like a membership instead of just buying the software outright, which I really don't like the idea of. So I really felt compelled to repair. Um, and then I just got on the new designs, and that took a while. So, and then unforeseen things with family, emergencies, and stuff like that. But anyway, back to doing some stamping right here. Okay, so see that right down there? That little bit of a tone should contribute to whatever, being able to see our little figure down there a little bit. I didn't fill it all in because that would look weird just to have this big blob of white like that. So I am doing that thing where it's like dark, light, dark, light. Maybe this right here is a little bit too dark. So we'll add a little bit more in right here. Like so. Okay. It just depends. Now, like I said, when you spray seal this, sometimes you lose a little bit of that lightness on there. Not so much with the spray fixative as much as the like a glossy acrylic spray. Okay, the glossy ones, I mean, they go on heavier. They're great for making everything look really glossy and glassy and shiny, but they do kind of manipulate the overall look of it a little bit. All right, let me do like this down here. This is looking a little heavy in that kind of more neutral white. This is a little bit of a warmer white, so I'm going to bring more of this up here into this lighter area just to get a little bit more of the gist of this color in here, just so that that relates to the light that's reflecting it, okay? If your light source isn't the same color as the reflected light, it looks a little bit off. So you just kind of bring some of this a little bit more into it, or a lot more into it, whatever it needs. All right, so we have that right there. It's just a subtle difference up here, but it's just a little bit of a tonal change. It's not really making it look very much lighter. All right, I think it's time to give it a try here. My little figures, I usually stamp them in later on, like at the end, but it's such a important kind of design element in here, so I think it would be a good idea to stamp it out right now in there. And then we can work our other images around it, I think. So, yeah. You're in a lull right now from the rain of the hurricane. Already been having tornado warnings. Wow. Hoping for I don't know, whatever, a continued lull out there, Bonnie. We had I have an old former professor of mine that lives in Florida. I forgot which one of those hurricanes it was. Gosh, was it last year or was it 2 years ago? But his community got hit really bad. And I've been watching all kinds of, I don't know, YouTube videos and just reports of like insurance, you know, rates and everything like that skyrocketing in certain areas of the country. And I don't know, I'm interested in that type of thing because in California we have all those wildfires all the time. So I don't know. It's a big concern if that's kind of the way things are going to be going, kind of from extremes of weather wise. All right, so let's get this stamped out. We'll go about right here. All right, the star of the scene getting stamped in there. I don't know, the star of the scene is really going to be it's really the lightning, but as far as like little figures go, probably the character, I would imagine, like that. Yeah, that Frankenstein, he didn't mean any harm. All right, let's see. Let's add in some surrounding types of things in here. Let's do this right here. I'm looking at this grass right here. That grass would be really good right in here. We're kind of limited on space, but I was thinking about the pumpkins down here. And I think that would be really good, but that grass would be perfect for in here too. This grass right here on the thing, you use it right here, coming in like this, and then it's continuous like this. And then you use this side right in here. That's the concept of this grass right here. And I did it in one continuous thing as opposed to having it like a left side and a right side, because if you want to have this go in a little bit farther into the scene, then, you can utilize this continuous portion of it. So, I don't know. That'd be a good one in there, but I don't know, just these pumpkins are kind of cool. I know they would, I know we have that windmill, and it's like I don't know, I guess a windmill could be like right at the edge of a, farm. I've seen that with, flower fields and things like that. But I think I will do this. Let's add in some pumpkins. I really want some pumpkins in here. Maybe that's, Frankenstein's like farming pumpkins, He liked them, those are things that he liked, before he was brought back from, or his brain brought back, reanimated. All right, let's see here. We'll go with these down low like this, and I'll bring in some grasses too right in the front of it, so we will get the benefit of something like that in here. So let's do that. And they're going to kind of be obscured. I don't need these ones to stand out. I just want it to look a little bit more kind of Halloween-ish, with getting some typical Halloween iconography in there. I don't think kids are like dressing up, as like Frankenstein over the last, very much over the last, I don't know, whatever, 40 years probably. I'm sure it was waning when I was a kid too, anyway. All right, so we have some different forms down here, and that just kind of breaks up the, the grassy, I don't know, whatever monotony of the of that slope in there. What did you do? What do you do with the larger scenes? Oh, I don't know. Different things, Linda. I don't know. I mean, I still have like all of the 11 by 17s of mine. I'm looking at this right here. I'm kind of deciding on what I want to add in here. I don't think I want to... I guess I could add some, I don't want to obscure this. I can add something in here. Oh, I know what I want to do. Okay. So let's frame this off a little bit more. Okay, so a little bit more depth. The pumpkins give it a little bit depth, but let's do this right here. All right, like that. Okay. We'll anchor them down with some shadow work in there too. We won't have to do too much because this scene, this background paper is already inherently really dark. And let's see here. Here we go. All right, this is, to me, this will be a really good accompaniment to the scene here. This spooky branch right here. I might go fairly prominent with it and not just use the tips in here, even though this is a really small format here. So this scene is like really dark, or the background paper. So I re-inked this just to make sure that I get the darkest impressions on here. Because I don't want to stamp out something. I don't know, this right here, that's like a 80%, 90%, dark violet in the background. So I don't want to be stamping out, something and it's a little bit dry and I get like a 90%, gray, instead of black. I'm still not getting like super black on here because it's this matte paper. But I just want to get as dark as possible. Okay. That looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good, even though it's going right in front of that windmill like that. I think that I usually don't do that like that, but I think that looks pretty good, like just like that. If I did this, let me see here. I'm kind of measuring in my head right here. Okay, let's do this right here. Let's get another one on that. This usually seems a little bit unbalanced to me, but because this character is moving off in that direction and these things are pointing in that direction, I was thinking, well, maybe we ought to do this thing, I don't know what they call it, kind of a dramatic imbalance kind of in terms of direction, which you can do just for the sake of, I don't know, kind of creating some sort of movement in the scene. I usually don't do that though. My preference is usually to create a little bit more of a balance and to keep the viewer in the scene, okay? Like I would do this right here and leave it, without any kind of visual directional cues in here. If I was going, like, if this was like page 1 or something like that, and it's like, and Frankenstein walked over to the ... you know what I mean? And you have them going over there, and you feel compelled to do that because everything's moving in one direction. But I usually have things a little bit more balanced out where the viewer's eye is kind of a little bit more contained in there. I don't know, I'd say like 9 out of 10 scenes I try to keep, I try to go for containment. It's just about with everything. So on something like this, things are a little more central, but see, we have this church right here, but I have a couple of those branches over here, but I go with a large branch coming in this way just to kind of balance it off. And see those birds, I didn't use those other crows that are looking this way, like out that way. I use the one crow, but they're kind of looking over that way, so we have all this directional things going that way. These ones are looking that way, as is the, this is like a pointy thing. You have a branch like looking this way. don't leave the scene. You know what I mean? Stay within the scene. So that's what you're kind of doing with your viewer there. You're wrangling your viewer visually, optically, whatever. Okay, so let's see here. Let's put this bird, crow. Let's go right up here. I pressed this a little bit too hard on that photo paper, and it overprinted, but I don't know, I just kind of went and filled it in again a little bit. I think that crow looks pretty cool right there. And I think I could put another one, speaking of kind of directional cues. I think we can go like this right over here. That's kind of big, but I don't know. Like I said, if you have a mirror image stamp or something like that, you can flip that one around if you want kind of a smaller one over on this side. All right, something like that. Or if you had like a spider web up here, you can have like a spider hanging down in there. All kinds of horrific possibilities right here, right? Let's see. Let's do some. I don't think I'm going to have to use too much of this violet right here, but let's see. Maybe. Let's obscure this bolt coming across right there. I think it's okay to have a little bit of it in there. It's like maybe that's just reflecting some of the light, from the bolt in here, but I don't necessarily want it looking like it's going, like a bolt's going straight through the building or something like that. But if you kind of obscure it a little bit, it's just this kind of this pale light. It could be reflecting this bolt over here or something like that. I mean, it wouldn't look like that, but from a visual standpoint, I don't think it looks bad like that. And I'm saying that because I don't know if I necessarily want to just ink that out where it's like really dark. Okay. All right, so let's anchor down this our objects in here a little bit. We'll put a little bit of lighting on at the base of the character. We'll do it on our pumpkins. Our pumpkins are really dark, so I don't know if we really need that. See this slope right here? I do want something in the background now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer. Let's do... another image that I had out yesterday. Here we go. Yeah. Let's do this one right here. Leafless limbs. Let's do this. Like that. Okay. I just needed something a little bit more of a defining object or form or something, just to differentiate the slope from that background in there, I think. That'll dry and it'll look a little bit more obscured when it dries. It's a little bit dark right now. But let's give it a little bit of a shadow at the base on that form. These are like really subtle kind of additions right here. Just because I'm putting black on something that's really dark already. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use this one with this bolt so prominent. I mean, it was really, really cool. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, or how you can utilize it. Deanna posted a scene on Facebook with how she used this lightning bolt paper, and it was really cool. She did it horizontally like that. I think it was with that church, and I think the church was over here or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I forgot, but I thought that's how she did it, and that looked really cool. And I thought about doing it horizontally too, the same type of composition right here, but horizontally. But the problem is that this windmill would just cover up way too much of the lightning bolts, and I mean that's the main thing about this whole scene is that lightning bolt. So I don't want to obscure that too much, or that much, you know. All right, let's see. Going into my grassy area. And I'm just kind of breaking up the bolt a little bit, darkening it in some areas, leaving it a little bit lighter, like that. So when I break it up like that, it's kind of, it's giving more emphasis to whatever, the slope, I guess, the grassy slope area. Okay. We don't have this continuous bolt form snaking through here like that. So it's like obscured, like that. And if you want to, I mean, I could get it a little bit, more obscured just by coloring it out a little bit more like that. But I like that going through there, just in terms of a texture though. So I'm going to leave it as is. And let's see here. All right, so let's do that. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't know that was kind of a warmish tone right in there. It looked neutral to me until I added in that white brilliance ink. That was like, oh, okay, that's a different temperature in there, because that looks like neutral to me now, and that looks a little bit warmer. So I think I'm going to go with this warm pen, and I'm going to bring out the light within these within the windmill. I mean, you can use white too, but I don't know. I just happen to have this warm one anyway, so I'm going to utilize that. Maybe it'll make it stand out a little bit more. Okay, let's see. There is a little window right here. And then there's 2 more windows on here. They have those, I don't know, what do you call it? That grid work that's in Windows. I think when they put that grid in there, they call it, like so many lights or something like that. So if it's like a tic-tac-toe thing, it's like 9 lights or something like that, I think. Is that what I think that's what they call it. I had to replace some windows a couple years ago. So I was getting refamiliarized with the terminology of Windows. What was it? Casement, single hung, double hung, and slider. Okay, let's go in and add in. We have our lighting now from our interior lit structures. And this one's over here too. This one's already kind of lit because it was right in the pathway of that lightning bolt here. But what you do is you can add in a little bit of lighting like that, okay? And then you add in on the objects underneath, or it could be like a bush or something like that. You put a little bit of lighting, not lightning, but lighting underneath the your light sources like that. So you have this kind of reflected light, and you condense it a little bit more in the area right like closest to it, and then you dissipate it, okay? You transition it like that. Um, so it's the same type of thing, that we've been talking about in those lessons, right, Len? you transition you transition your shadows going from darker to lighter, so you transition your light going from lighter to darker like that, okay? So dark to light is like inside to out, or outside to in, and then light is like usually inside to out like that, okay? But see that like lighting right there? It's kind of picking up that lighting in there. This pen's like doing a lot to this. You know why this pen looks like it's doing a lot in here? It's because it's so dark, and because this is like creating a lot of contrast in here, so it just stands out a lot more. Which, that being said, it would be really easy for me to overdo it with this, but like I said, if you overdo it a little bit or whatever, a lot, just, I don't know, whatever. And don't see it as a bad thing. See it as a good thing. You were gutsy and you went for it and you were having fun. And besides, Linda asked what I do with my larger pieces, you know what I mean? The same thing I do with the smaller ones, you know what I mean? And it is not submitting it to like the Museum of Modern Art, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you go over it, go overboard a little bit or a lot, with anything, it's no big deal anyway. I know we want, our scenes to be all masterpieces and stuff like that, but it's, you know what I mean? It's when we're doing this type of thing, stamp art, I mean, it should be, a lot of fun and, like carried away should not be like a negative thing, because I think it's all, about the process. So, and some people are saying, yeah, I know about the process though. I wrecked my scene though. Well, then, you'll know more, because you'll get a better feel of, how much you want to add in there in the future then. All right, let's add in a little bit of this kind of this lighting around our character. Yeah, it's just kind of to highlight the character a little bit more. So I'm putting him in a little bit of a sparkly light like that. And see this area in here? It's a big kind of like nothing. Oh, on these crows here, I did do this. They do have this little negative space eyeball. So I'm going to add those back in there because the eyeball is dark because I stamped him over a dark area. So I just drew in those extra eyeballs like that. But let's do a couple little stars out here, I guess. All right, so we have those little stars. See what those little stars did in there? They're kind of cool. I would do that thing where I said I'd kind of put a little bit of a, that misty glow on a couple of them, like these fireflies in here. But the thing is, this lightning bolt is it's really kind of like super prominent in here. So I don't think I want to add in, any more glowing objects in that area, just because I want to emphasize that lightning bolt in there, or keep it. I don't want to de-emphasize it, I guess, by adding in similar textures. So see, sometimes you do things, with similar textures and, for whatever continuity, but sometimes you don't for, I don't know, whatever, for dramatic effect or whatever. It makes something stand out singularly a little bit more, okay? All right, but I do like those stars in there, so add a few more in here. If we're doing your paint pen editions, and if you're going over some areas where you have some pigment ink like down here, sometimes that pigment ink goes up into your nib there, and it kind of clogs it, okay? And sometimes the inclination is to kind of like pogo stick this and go, you know, and people are like doing it and pressing it down and, you know, depressing the spring. You don't do it that way. You just unclog, you write with it like this, okay? You don't want to smash the tip or anything like that. So just get it flowing again like that, and that should be good, okay? I used to see that in my workshop sometimes, but we were using these other pens and it had this metal point on there in the old days. And people might be going jink, 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 and it would, you know, what it's doing is it's opening up the reservoir of ink inside. It's not clearing out the tip. It's just opening up the whole reservoir. So that paint can come down around the nib instead of going through it, and it comes out the side and it can result in a big blob. I don't know about these acrylic paint pens, if it would do that. But I just remembered to tell people not to do that. I mean, no one did it, you know, whenever I remembered to kind of mention that. But yeah, sometimes people would get a big blob. And then, it was easier just to mop off because we were using glossy cardstock, and it didn't absorb and dry on the paper real fast, so you can just kind of mop it off. But I don't know, after that happened, like, I don't know, maybe a couple times, I just remembered to tell people. I demonstrated that, that pen technique. You just kind of start scribbling with it a little bit. All right, so anyways, adding a little bit more mist right down in here. A little bit of fog. Like that. And let me see, was there something else that I was going to do in here? Oh, I just saw this right here and I thought, okay, we can use a little bit more texture with our tiny rocks small. I always love using this. So in this little area right in here that had that glow, it's real soft in there, but I don't know if you can see this little rock textures in here now. So it just made it a little bit more, I don't know, complete. Can you see that? Those rock textures in there now? So you have those little rock textures. It's something that's really very, very small and kind of obscure, but from a textural standpoint, instead of it just being this soft glow around in here now, that those rocks kind of anchored that area down a little bit more. So anyways, there's a quick scene right there, thanks to, those background papers by Deanna. I think this scene would look pretty cool, just about on anything. I do have like the cloud with lightning stamp that could be used, but I think this composition, just in general, it doesn't have to have the lightning in there. But I think, something like this composition would be good on, if you still want to make it a fast card, you can do it on, like these background papers like this, or the, maybe even better would be the, those vintage papers. I think the vintage paper would be pretty cool with this type of composition. It would just look more kind of aged, and it would kind of be in the spirit of, that Frankenstein movie, that's, famous monsters of filmland type of thing. I don't know, whenever that movie was made, was that in the 40s or something like that, that original one? But it would kind of be in the spirit of, black and white movie, being on, if you stamped it on one of those vintage papers, though. So, yeah, let me see if I have that, like something like this type of paper right here. I think this would look really good on there. You wouldn't have the lightning, or you could add it in there, but, and some of these papers are a little bit, like darker than others. Let me see. Yeah, like this one right here, I think would be really cool right here, like that, with that type of look on there. So I don't know, but that would also be, just a really fast, quick scene to do. Very little coloring, if anything. I don't know if I needed to do it at all. I probably could have just used my black colored pencil and gone in there with the, where's that black colored pencil? I think on something like this, it's this black and then white. And then if you have, you know, either one of your pens right here, I mean, this made it a little bit warmer in here against that cool kind of, or whatever, temperatureless violet. I don't know, violet's usually a little bit of a cool tone, but I mean, like these three things right here could have been utilized on here. Probably, you know, it wouldn't have made that big of a difference. I don't know, that warm tone in there, when I look at this, it seems like it is kind of nice having that subtle warmth in there, but yeah, anyways, it makes for a really easy type of thing. So you have your shadow work with this, and then you have your lighting in here. You have your crisp lighting, and then you have your soft lighting with this, okay? And you can do that with a lot of different pieces, even if they're colored pieces or whatever. I mean, those are the same types of things that I'm utilizing if I'm using a paper that I can use colored pencils with. But if it's not a colored pencil type of thing, like with a glossy cardstock, it's just, you know, using dye-based inks to tone in instead of this, or your alcohol pen, or you can use, you know, multimedia in there. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, the pumpkins added a little element in there, huh, Linda? See, those pumpkins, I don't know, they're kind of a nice form. I even barely see them. It'd be one of those secondary types of things if someone took a look at it closely. It's like, oh. But I kind of like them down here, too, these rounded forms in here. Otherwise, you know, it's also because I've used that sedge filler a gazillion times, you know, and it just goes down, and then there's grass, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of nice to have something kind of that goes in there, and it fits with the, you know, whatever, it fits with it thematically, you know, for the season. So anyway, everyone's silent. Hello, KT. Thanks for joining in, Big W. Thanks for checking out the scene right here. So yeah. It's like I said, I don't know if anyone even remembers that Frankenstein. Like I said, I've barely watched that movie, but I thought it was a kind of a cool kind of thing. The lightning bolt wasn't in the movie or anything like that, but it's, you know, it's kind of thematic for with you know, the Frankenstein, being brought to life with that lightning like that. So I don't know, pretty fun. I guess you know, you can do something. It'd be kind of interesting to do some other type of thing. Maybe we do like a marble platform or something like that, and you can put this Frankenstein like laying on his back with a lightning bolt coming down like that, or something. And that would be kind of interesting. We don't have this like pulley system with this thing, you know, where, you know, he's being like cranked up, you know, into the whatever the upper areas of I don't know. That was like another Frankenstein, like the Frankenstein lab type of thing. But I think, you know, if you have lightning coming down and kind of reanimating Frankenstein in some other setting, that could be pretty fun to do too. But yeah. Let's see. I hide mine under tablecloths or whatever to keep them from curling, and there they stay. I was thinking those monster maps. Did you have those on display? Linda was asking me earlier on this. If people didn't say, she said, "What do you do with your pieces?" Well, we did some really large pieces in the Facebook group. I don't know. It was, other people might have done it just on their own too, but not posted, or not, might not be on Facebook. But we did these really large Halloween pieces, like it's an amusement park map type of thing, you know, with a lot of different like little scenarios. Using a lot of Halloween types of imagery. So still have those. But those would be kind of cool to put on display every year. You know, especially those 11 by 17s. I don't know, they don't take that much longer to do because, like I said, you know, we're just kind of stamping out things. I stamped out the same stamp multiple times usually when I'm doing a larger piece. I don't just, you know, if it's 11 by 17 and it's like 8 times the space of like a, you know, 4¼ by 5½. I don't use like 8 times as many images. I usually just kind of repeat the big imagery like multiple times for something like that. But that would be kind of cool as seasonal types of whatever decorations in your house. It'd be kind of good to do that anyway, I think, for like scenic stamping. You can do things for every season and you can switch out. You can even keep all your pieces in the same frame. You just kind of open up the back and you rotate around, you know, whatever one fits the season. But that'd be kind of cool to do that. It'd be kind of interesting if you did like, some maybe not this one right here, but maybe you have like a windmill scene or something like that. This is your Halloween one, but another one has like springtime in here instead of the crows and Frankenstein in here and the lightning bolt in the background. You did the same type of size right here, but this is maybe a flower field. Or another one could be like winter and you have this in a snowy type of situation, something like that, and those can be rotated out during different times of the year. And it's pretty fun to work kind of in with the same compositions, but in different kind of times of year, themes, seasonal types of things too. This would be cool too. I saw a scene with this, like windmills, like in Netherlands or something like that, but there was this body of water in here and there was all these ice skaters around in this area, next to a windmill. I want to do something like that for, in the upcoming months here too. So something like that would be fun. All right. Thanks for joining in on this relatively quick scene. Let's see, Frank's night we stroll. I don't know. Maybe that's not the title of this piece. Frank and his birds. I don't know. Yeah, we'll think of a name sometime. All right, folks. Hope you have a great rest of evening. And if it is, whatever, National Rubber Stamp Day or something like that, happy National Rubber Stamping Day to you. Thanks again.